Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Brett McCollum, and I'm here today with Austin Geiser. And today we're going to be talking about adapting to real estate. Before we do, guys, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs to 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. Without further ado, Austin, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Thanks for being here with me, man. Good catching up with you before the show, getting to know you a little bit. And we were talking about it, like, what a cool backdrop you got behind you. It's beautiful there, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's Irvine, California. It's always beautiful here.
That's so cool. Well, before we get into all the things that we're going to talk about today, can you do me a favor? Let's back up, pull back the layers a little bit, rewind, and catch us up to speed. Who's Austin? How did you get here? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So I grew up in Montana, actually, in a pretty small town. I was very sports focused growing up, not school focused. I had no prior planning on where my life was going to go or what direction. I just thought I was going to play sports for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And got to senior year, realized that wasn't going to happen, and ended up falling into a construction job right out of high school. Just kind of the first job that I could find. Worked construction for a couple years. And after that couple years, I realized that was not what I wanted to be doing with my life. I was looking around me, seeing, 50, 60-year-old guys working alongside me whose bodies were just broken. They were tired.
Yeah.
They, physically were not well. And I couldn't see myself doing that. So I actually ended up pulling my retirement that I had built up over the 2 years, and I moved to Hawaii. I was living in California at this time. I just picked up, I moved to Hawaii, and decided I was going to figure it out. I wanted to be a business owner of some sort. I thought that sounded cool. I had no idea what that entailed, obviously, in the beginning. And I actually was trying to be a personal trainer. That's what I wanted to do. I was doing my schooling for kinesiology, living in Hawaii. And along the lines, I ended up stumbling upon Cody Sperber. He had a wholesale fix and flip how-to book, ebook back in the day. I think I got it from an ad on Instagram. I ended up reading it and I was like, wow, this really sounds like something I want to do. Flipping houses, flipping paper. This sounds great. This sounds exactly like what I want to do. And at the time, I thought that I needed to go find buyers. That was the first thing I needed to do, was find buyers. That was the wholesale playbook. Go find your buyers and then find properties for them. I posted a fake ad on Craigslist, living in Hawaii there. And some guy ended up reaching out to me. His name was Elmer, actually, and reached out to me. He's like, hey, man, I know your ad is BS. There's no deals with those numbers on this island, because it was a fake property ad, a fake listing that I had for a wholesale deal, just trying to attract buyers.
Yep.
He's like, there's no properties with these numbers on this island. So I know you're BSing, but it seems like you're trying to figure this out. Let's have coffee and chat. He ended up giving me probably 4 or 5 hours of his time at a coffee shop the next week. And I had no knowledge in real estate at all. I was very, very green. He sat down, he kind of walked me through the whole process and was like, hey, I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to teach you what I know. There's not a lot of people doing this on the island. So let's connect. Let's figure out how we can work together.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
The first deal I did was a unfinished new construction home in Hawaii on the island. I picked it up seller finance from the owner. The structure was essentially, hey, float the note for me while I finish this project, and then we'll split the profits at the end of it. Elmer ended up going in on that deal with me. He really managed the whole thing because I had no clue what was going on past getting the contract. And the contract was very, very rudimentary. I Googled a seller finance contract and filled it out. It was horrible. Went through that project. It ended up going really, really terribly. We barely broke even. It wasn't something that was a super exciting first deal in the real estate world. So at that point, I kind of decided I wanted to move into wholesaling more.
Okay.
I was getting tired. I did some more deals with him on the island. I invested my cash with him actually on a few deals that he flipped out there. And he taught me a lot about how the process goes and what that looks like. And then at that point, I was ready to move away from Hawaii. I was tired of living on the island. I was separated from family and friends. So I decided to move back to California. And I didn't really know where I wanted to go at that point. I knew that I wanted to stay in real estate. I ended up finding a job listing for a wholesale company that was hiring for a disposition agent. So I went on there. I was like, I'm going to go take my licks, learn, and figure out how this business works. I ended up working for them for 4 or 5 years. Started in dispositions, moved into acquisitions eventually, and realized that I really had a knack for acquisitions. I love negotiating contracts. I love talking to sellers and agents and just getting deals done. So I did that with them for 5 years, left that company right around COVID is when I left, and decided to partner up with a friend of mine that I had met in that company. We started our own wholesale company. We ran that for 3 years, went really well. It was successful. It was during COVID, so deals were everywhere. It was crazy. Yeah. Great time to get started, really. And then I decided to sell my half of the company to him and go find the next thing that I wanted to do, which ended up being lending. So I've been here at Easy Street here in Irvine since then, doing lending, still doing a little wholesale on the side, but really focusing on the lending business and very much enjoying it.
Wow. Dude, you've had like multiple lives already, man.
Yeah, 30 years old, and I feel like I'm 50 at this point.
I'm like, golly, you can't be past 30. Yeah, that's funny, man. Good. So, all right, so let's back up a little bit. All right, so you decide roughly at how old were you when you decided to make the move? You're out of high school, you're in construction, you did that for a little bit, and then you said, I'm going to take a jump and I'm going to go to Hawaii. How old were you at that point?
I was about 20.
20. How was that at 20 years old, like in that league? Was it nerve-wracking? Was it exciting? What was it like?
Honestly, looking back, it wasn't nerve-wracking enough. I think that I just had that young energy and I'll figure it out attitude. So I just decided to do it. My family was actually getting ready to move from California to Texas. So my parents were. So I wasn't having a lot to tie me down to California other than the friends I had here. And I loved traveling. I always wanted to travel. So I was like, I'm going to just go. I'm going to figure it out. But honestly, no, it wasn't as nerve-wracking as it really should have been. I moved there. I stayed in a vacation rental, which was a horrible situation for a few months while I found more permanent living. And it was an exciting time. I wasn't as nervous as I should have been, though.
Yeah. Yeah, because then, so did you go there with a job in hand? You said you cashed out your retirement. Like, were you on a time crunch financially? Like, I got to find something? Like, what was it like?
Yeah, I didn't have anything lined up out there. I knew that at the time, I thought that I wanted to do personal training was the business that I wanted to get into, be a personal trainer. So I was just studying for that to take the certification tests for it and living off my retirement really for the first couple months that I was there until I got into the real estate thing and started making a little money through that. And that kind of carried me through.
Got it.
basically living very, very frugally for 2 years while I learned about this stuff. And at the time, fortunately for me, I lived on the big island of Hawaii.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
In a very rural area, so it was actually surprisingly cheap to live there. I was paying $1,100 a month for rent for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which is unheard of in California. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, man, how are you making it out in Hawaii, at 20 with no job? But like that makes a lot more sense 'cause, and but learning to live frugally, even at a young age, is probably something that I think it's a necessity in life to learn like how to budget, how to maximize dollar for dollar that comes in, to make sure that you're not overspending. So that was probably a good thing that you went through that, to some level anyway.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in a pretty frugal household. My parents were pretty smart with money. Didn't grow up with a lot of it, but they stretched every dollar to make it work
Yeah.
for the family. They were very family oriented. So we always had what we needed and nothing more than that. That's how I grew up. And I was happy with that. I didn't grow up having a bunch of fancy toys or nice things. I had the things that I needed and some of the things that I wanted. And my parents instilled the value of money into me at a really young age.
You hit a thing that I think that's really cool. Let's double back to it's like, I was happy.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
dude, like that's I think so many people like I have 4 kids, right? And I grew up, we didn't have much. But happiness isn't tied to having more. It's just not. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we try to think that too much.
No, I think, I mean, I appreciate my parents. I didn't have one of the stories that you hear about from some investors where they grew up really hard, didn't have a great relationship with their parents, and they had that like chip on their shoulder to prove
Right.
everyone wrong. I grew up in the most loving family that I could. My
Amazing.
parents were always there for my games, football, wrestling. My dad coached teams. They did everything they could for us. And I think that on the opposite end of the spectrum from growing up with a chip on your shoulder, I grew up with just so much love around me that they kind of told me that I could do anything I wanted to. They never tried to pigeonhole me into one thing. They were like, you can do whatever you want to do. Just put the work into it.
Yeah.
Everything in life is about putting work in and going from there. So very blessed.
Yeah. I mean, do you have kids now or no?
No, not yet. Hopefully in the next couple of years, though.
Nice. Yeah. So I can say this as a parent, like that's every parent's dream is for you to say what you just said about your parents, right? Like that's every parent's dream.
Yeah.
So good on your parents, man. Like, let's props to them. If they listen to this, send it to them. Like, props to them. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, let's catch up a little bit. You get into the real estate game a little bit. You're starting to, learn the ropes a little bit. You move back to California. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. And so then you worked in Dispo at first, right? And you were with this company for 5 years. Did I catch that?
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit because obviously you're entrepreneurial minded, right? And you're working in a dispositions role where you're getting a percentage of a deal, probably. I'm guessing that's how pay structure was.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing, I imagine if you worked there for that many years, it had to be a fairly successful organization for you to stay there that long.
Yeah.
But at some point, did you ever get to the point where like, dude, I want to stop making 10, 15%, whatever it is? Like, what was that like?
I mean, that's the exact reason that I ended up breaking out on my own. It's funny, when I first got there, again, growing up, didn't have a lot of money. I joined this company and all of these guys were around my same age and they were raking in money hand over foot. They were doing it. The company was very successful. They're still around. They're still doing phenomenally. They're a national company. And all of these young kids my age were making more money than I'd ever seen in a month. It was crazy to me. Driving nice cars, wearing nice clothes. It really introduced me to the more materialistic side of life. And I
Sure.
got trapped in that for a little bit, growing up without a lot. It was exciting. I started making money pretty quick. I caught on really quick. I've always been good at talking to people. And that's at the end of the day, all this job is in real estate is just being good at
Yeah.
talking to people. So I caught on quick. I started making some decent money, and I started getting into the material trap. I started buying nice things, wasting my money.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And it completely went against my plan, which was to go in there, learn, and use my money to go get some assets. And fell into that for a couple years, actually. Came out of it, realized that none of the stuff that I was buying myself mattered. The trips that I was taking were the most valuable thing to me. I did travel a lot during that time. That had always been a dream of mine. So I went out of country multiple times with some of the people I met there. And some of them became my best friends to this day. One in particular, Angelo, the guy that I ended up partnering with, he left before I did. I was still there. I was doing really well for myself at this company. I was in a point where I was making good money and I was just happy with life. And he left. I remember we were walking back from lunch one day and he's like, "Why don't we do this ourselves? What are we doing?" I was like, "What do you mean, why don't we do this ourselves?" He's like, "We could go start our own wholesale company, do exactly what we're doing here, but take 100% of the cut instead of 15, 20% of the cut."
Yeah.
For some reason at that time, I was so bought into this company that I was like, that's not possible. Like, you can't do that. Even though I'd done it before, which is hilarious. I was like, you can't, not at the scale that we're at right now, not even close. So he called my bluff. He left before I did, and he went and started doing it on his own. And he did a couple deals, and I kept in touch with him, still great friends. And he's like, "You really need to leave." He's like, "Come over here. Let's talk about it. Let's do it." So I ended up jumping ship, taking the leap of faith and joining him. And that was my end of my career at that company, and kind of rolled into the next thing with him. So overall, it was a great experience. I really tell people when I worked at that company, it was kind of like going to real estate college, but getting paid
100%
for it.
100%. That you beat me to the punch, because that's what I was going to say too. You probably learned what you needed to learn to be able to go do this on your own.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like so many people, the barrier to entry to wholesale and just in general is so little. It's just, you watch a YouTube video once and now I'm a pro, and it's like that seems to be sometimes the benchmark. It's like, oh, how did you get started? Well, I watched a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
And no, that was it. And I mean, frankly, that was my start, right? Back in 2015. I watched a webinar. It's a 10-minute webinar. And I was like, this guy's speaking to me. Like, every word out of his mouth was like, this is for me. And I kid you not, it was a Thursday night. I watched it. Friday, I jumped onto a Zillow, called a for sale by owner. He said, "Yeah, I'll meet with you." I said, "Cool, I'll be there on Monday." Cause it was a long story. I had to meet him on a Monday. I said, "Meet you on Monday." I met him on a Monday. And he said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I was like, "Oh crap, now what?" Because they didn't tell me what to do in the webinar. So then I had to go find somebody, thank God there was a couple of Facebook groups at the time still, back then even. And I said, "I need help." And somebody said, "I got you." And they came out and met me on a Wednesday. We put it under contract. But I was like, I didn't know anything. And I thought I could just go out there and like transact this thing and make this big check, It's funny looking back at it, like but now you fast forward to 2025 and it's like, man, like at least I was just kind of young and naive. I wished I would have had the exposure to learning the ropes, the ins and outs, because the heartache, the stress, all the things that come with doing it like on your own without any of that training. Like, I tell people now, like, where do I start? Go work for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell people now.
The funny flip side of that story, though, is you wish that you would have known more at the time. But I think the reason it worked so well is because you were naive enough to just jump in. I meet a lot of young kids that are trying to get into the business. And I think that the biggest determining factor on whether you're going to do well or not is just, do you have the grit and maybe a little bit of naive confidence to go jump in and butt your head against the wall until you figure it out? Because you can go watch all the YouTube videos in the world, read all the ebooks, and nothing's going to happen until you actually get out there and start making a fool of yourself a little bit, being on a call with someone.
Yeah. I mean, or at a minimum, do what I did too. It's like I just was trying to figure it all out, and then I finally said, you know what? I'm going to take this one check that I just got. I'm going to hire this coach, and I
Yeah,
did.
that's a great way to do it too. I think
Yeah.
coaches and mentors are invaluable. And
I couldn't fit. I realized I was like, I was not a natural entrepreneur or business owner or anything like that. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just making it up. And I was like, I needed help, but man, I'm so glad you said that, because it is a great path to learn the ins, the outs, to do all this, sets that trajectory so that you have the confidence when you're out there to, like, I know the process works. I've done it how many times over the last 4 or 5 years. You know what to do. And then so now you're into that. You guys are on your own. You ran that for what, you say 3 years?
3 years, 3.5 years. Yeah.
Okay. How did that go in general? Like, it was great timing, like you said.
It went really well. The timing, again, could not have asked for better timing. The market was so strong. Everything we contracted was flying off the shelves for well over ask price. So that was really nice. It went really, really well for the first 2 years until interest rates changed. And then we kind of got a kick in the face and we realized we didn't know as much as we thought we did. But during that time, I met some incredible people, made some great connections. I was a member of a Mastermind, Collective Genius, for a while, made a lot of connections through there, and met people that I still talk to this day, and learned a ton from there. I think that I wouldn't be half as far as I am now, knowledge-wise, if I hadn't been a part of that group. So that was a huge blessing. But it went great. We hired a couple of acquisition agents, a dispo agent, and we were just rolling. And then I realized I kind of started falling out of love with it. And I think it was because I didn't enjoy the management aspect of managing other people. I realized over the years, I love the gratifying parts of managing people, seeing them succeed, seeing them hit goals and do well for themselves. I didn't like the parts where I was trying to chase them down to do their job in some points, or train people up that really weren't at the level that I wanted them to be at. And it was really trying to pull them up instead of them pulling themselves up. So yeah, managing a team wasn't for me. And that's kind of the point where I realized that I wanted to step away from that. Sold my half of the company to Angelo, and he still runs it to this day. He's doing well for himself. So it was not a company thing. It was a me thing. I was put in the position when we first started, we decided roles, and I was in the position of hiring, training, firing. I hated firing. I wasn't great at training. And I wasn't the best at hiring, to be honest, either. So I was like, I'm going to go do something where my business relies a little more on myself and not the people around me that I have to train.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that. What does that business now look like?
Yeah. So now I'm doing hard money lending with Easy Street Capital. It's really, I think it's the perfect role for me. I've been in real estate for almost 10 years now, and going from something where you're direct with sellers, you're negotiating contracts all day. We were doing only direct with seller for the whole time that I was with him. Going from that, where it's a lot of sitting across the table from people and trying to fight against them to win that deal, to a role now where everything is collaborative. Everything is just really, it's just going, meeting people and making friends to the point where they want to work with you, as opposed to the other hard money lender. All of us hard money lenders offer roughly the same thing, give or take. So it's really building a relationship with those people and managing the relationship, which is my favorite part of the whole business. I always love networking. I always love talking to people and getting to know them. And that's all I do now. I sit on the phone all day and I talk to friends and I make new friends and I go to networking events, and I love that aspect of the job. And then I get to close deals and make money as a part of that. So I love it.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's kind of not too dissimilar to a wholesale transaction. You met with a seller and, hey, Austin, I'm going to make you this cash offer. It's probably very similar to the other cash offers you're getting. What makes us different? Like, it's right. It's like, it's the relationship that won those. At the end of the day. And
same thing on a longer timeline. I mean, with a seller, maybe you'll buy 2 houses from them. You get to build a little bit of rapport with them. But at the most, you're usually buying 1 house. Your time with that seller is a couple months at most. So you don't really get to build a deep relationship. Whereas on the side that I am now, I talk to these people every week for months and months, and eventually years and years at a time. That's a really deep relationship that I thoroughly enjoy in this business. I like really getting to know people. I like when I talk to someone on the phone and I can ask how their kid's baseball game went and be excited about it, because I actually care about that stuff. So thoroughly enjoy this side of the business.
Yeah. So are you more like, walk me through more day to day, right? Like, so like Are you more like client success, or like what does the day to day look like for you?
I'd say half of my day is dedicated to prospecting. I use Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram to try and prospect new leads. I go to a lot of networking events. I do a lot of office visits. Luckily, I was in wholesale prior, so I know a ton of wholesalers in the area and nationwide. A lot of what I do is just hanging out with those wholesale companies, going and visiting their offices, educating their agents on what hard money is and how it can be useful to them and their buyers. And I get a lot of referrals from that. Very blessed that I know, so many wholesalers in the industry in the area that I can kind of work alongside to help them close their deals on time and help me get more referrals in the process. So my day to day is really a lot of follow up prospecting and then office visits with people, just trying to
Yeah,
get more referrals.
you said something and it kind of led me to a thought. Why should I, a flipper or wholesaler, let's taking something down, whatever it is, why hard money? Why not just go try to raise more capital?
Ease of access for sure is first and foremost. Raising capital, I mean, I talk to investors all the time that are like, I don't need hard money. I use private money now.
Yep.
And that's great. Once you get to that point, why would you use hard money if you can raise that much money to be able to do your deals on a better capital structure with private money than hard money? So once you get to that point, by all means, use that private money. That's the end goal. That's amazing. But there's a big barrier to entry to private money. You have to build your portfolio and your experience to a point where people trust you giving you that money and letting you utilize it to do these projects. When you're first starting out, you're doing your first couple deals, private money isn't as easily accessible to most people. You do have some people that have friends and family that are willing to just go out on a limb and put money with them, and that's amazing. But for those that don't have that, hard money is the best option. You can leverage the smaller amount of cash you have to buy a larger asset and do these projects. Along with that, as a hard money lender, we're experts in the industry. So
Yeah.
we actually provide a lot of help to them when they're coming in and they're submitting a deal for loan terms, and we see a different value. We see a different renovation budget. We can kind of help guide them, especially on their first deal, help guide them through that project and make sure that
Yep.
it's being done well and that they're going to make it out of that project and make money on it. Because at the end of the day, they have to make money. We have to make money. We want to help guide that. So I think it's very valuable for those that don't have access to the private money. If you have access to private money, by all means use that. And you can still use hard money in conjunction with that to
100%.
10x the amount of deals you're doing right now. If you have, 500,000 in private money, that is 5 deals at a time that you could be doing utilizing hard money in conjunction with that. So they kind of go hand in hand at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad you said that too, because that's the secret code right there, right? It's like use them both.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Use all the
yeah,
resources you can use.
yeah, do both. Yes. Well, man, dude, like let's tell people a little bit too. How can people connect with you in some way? Like, because you've got a lot to offer. You've got a lot of wisdom. You've been in the game a long time. You know what you're doing, and have variation, like the various aspects of what we do inside of the investing market. How can people reach out to you and connect with you, man?
I'm on Instagram mostly. That's my main social media platform, Austin_Geiser. You can email me, AustinG at Easy Street Cap. Those are the two best ways to reach me. LinkedIn as well, Austin Geiser. I'm really trying to make a push to get more heavily into social media. For the last 10 years, I have not utilized it for anything outside of personal posting for friends and family to see. And I see the value in utilizing it. That's why I'm
Yeah.
trying to get on podcasts like this one and just generate more content through social media. I've actually done some business from it already, so I know it pays and it works well. But
Yep.
yeah, Instagram, LinkedIn, email, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to anyone.
Yeah, we'll definitely make sure we put all that in the show notes because guys, reach out. I mean, he's definitely somebody worth reaching out to. You've got a lot, and I'm going to say something at risk of you saying, "Why did you say that, Brett?" But I can almost guarantee, even if you don't do business with Austin, he's going to lend wisdom and expertise to you if you reach out. It just seems like that's your heart, man, is to help people.
Those are kind words. And yeah, I'm very first and foremost helping people. Back to the story about meeting Elmer at that coffee shop, that impacted me dramatically. He didn't ask for a dollar. He didn't ask for anything from me. And I've tried to carry that into my life now. I mentor people, help them out as much as I can without asking them to pay me. I just want to help people succeed. Someone went out on a limb and gave me a shot, and I want to see that in the next generation of people coming up.
Yeah, I can see that. It just comes off you, man. So you're doing something right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, man, thanks for being here with us today, man. This has been a great show. I'm really glad to get to know you, and I hope people connect with you. And I really appreciate you being here, man.
Of course, I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Cool. Well, guys, it's been a great show. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.